So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason, and I'm big.
I'm Marit, and I'm tiny.
Here we go. Now, you wake up in the middle of a bee swarm. It's your day off. You have nothing on the plan except for hanging out with your best friend, making a podcast. You're looking forward to it. Bees in your face. What you gonna do? You're gonna relax? You're gonna take it easy? You're gonna act appropriately and respond, taking responsibility for the situation? You're gonna freak out. Sup? Gotta check out your inner self. Bee swarm. Do you even like bees? They give you honey. They smell good. But they sting, right? And how many of them are swarming around you? So when unexpected things happen in your life, who are you? How are you? What do you do? And how quickly do you recover from the shock of things not going the way you had pictured them? I want to talk about this. We talk often about freedom. We talk about being powerful, about being total, about being high, about being spiritual yet grounded. But you don't know what spiritual time it is, son, unless you got a bee swarm and you're still keeping your cool. Where are the bee swarms in your life? How often do things not go exactly how you pictured? And can you keep that love in your heart? Can you keep focused on what needs to be done instead of the panic of things not matching your expectation? How many times do you judge yourself where you feel that you're not meeting your own expectations? And how fast do you recover from that? Do you ever have a bee swarm inside? A bee swarm of criticism, self-hate, denial. How do you treat yourself in those situations, and how fast do you get back on track? So, we're talking about bee swarms.
It actually happened to you this morning.
Literally.
So that's it.
Yeah.
It's not just, let's find some esoteric way to explain this. No. It was a bee swarm.
Yeah, this is not an ancient text.
You have bees. Just it also said you have bees.
Yes.
So a bee swarm might happen.
It could happen.
It is possible.
But, you're trucking around doing a little garden work or whatever. You're going to pop in the car and pick up your bestie and have a podcast, and you got a swarm. You got a bee swarm in the garage, right? So you become Indiana Jones of the bee world, and then you get all dressed up and get after it. Now, the necessary is to orientate yourself in the situation, right? And figure out what has to be done. But the inner climate that you maintain during this, does that affect how well you respond to the situation?
Oh, big time.
It does, right? So, interestingly enough, we talk about the roles that we have in our lives. And generally, people have many roles, but they have three major roles. They have, do you know what your roles are?
They are a little bit up in the air at the moment.
Right.
But what have had at least before was worker,
Yeah.
wife, and athlete.
Yes, exactly. And those are those are very interesting perspectives on life, because very often when we have our major roles, as long as we're holding ourselves to our major role, one of those three major roles, it's easy for us to focus on what we should be doing.
Mm.
The challenge, though, is that when you get out of those, in a way, power action chains of action, what happens to you? So a person who identifies as a worker, for example, very often has issues when they're on vacation.
Yeah, I'm not a good, what do you call it? Vacationer.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know.
Right?
Yeah, today even we had a day off. What have I been doing? I've been working.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And very often we will work because that's where we feel powerful. That's where we know ourselves. And we also often control that area most, right? Because you're in your work all the time.
Yeah, the first thing I did this morning, I had a cup of coffee and did some meditation, and then I thought, okay, I could send now an email to this person, or I can contact that, and I can keep in contact with that person, so I'm in their loop there, and I can make a newsletter there, and I can book that thing and start thinking about the next step there. So it's always, I'm not good at taking vacations.
Right. And that's the thing, though. Being free inside allows you to choose and take on that jacket, but it also allows you to take those jackets off. If we're chained by our roles, then we have an issue as well, right?
And
then bee
that
swarms.
I've been that a lot before.
Yeah, exactly. And then bee swarms show up, and those bee swarms that show up because we're locked into a role also have to be dealt with sooner or later. So a person who's identifying only with, for example, being a worker, works all the time, has to deal with the fallout of working all the time, right? There's also an issue, right? Yes. So there's a lot of interesting things that are involved with the idea of being free. And being free is being free to respond most totally to the moment that arises, right? They talk about, be present, be mindful, be in the moment and all that. But it really is the truth. You can't do anything about the past. You can't do anything about the future. You can only deal with what's happening right now. And interestingly enough, when you take advantage of that right now, the path to the future opens up to you, and the things that have happened in the past become tools for your moment and your path forward. So it's a very interesting thing. But when we're in the stress of the bee swarm, we're in the stress of the world doesn't match the way I had expected it, then we're not able to respond in a creative and a elastic way, right?
I think many people are struggling with that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I could imagine, especially if you have kids.
Oh, exactly.
I don't have kids, so I don't know, but I would imagine, because society tells you it needs to look like this, and your house needs to look like that, and it needs to be clean, and they have to. Or in Norway, like, the kids has to go on soccer, and they should play an instrument, and they should be social in some kind of club, and then it's so much to a frame that you kind of need to show the world, like, it's a lot of pressure on it.
It's a lot of pressure. That's it. And your mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers teach you how to be, right? And in a way, it keeps you safe. But as you grow up and you start realizing that, hold on a second, now I don't need these rules. I understand the situation. I know how to drive. You don't have to think about the rules of driving. You know how to drive, right? So when you've transcended your need for these rules coming from your mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers, and you can check out the situation here and now, and you can base your action and your internal climate on what's necessary right now, then you're maximally functional, right? Because, that was the whole thing. People get stressed, and when you get stressed, you always go back to what you know, right?
Yes.
That's what happens. And because we're searching for those roles, we're searching for those habits where we feel safe, right?
And safe doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing. Just
no,
it's more what is your fallback.
Exactly.
It's your automatic fallback. It's not. It's what you know. Like when we talked about before, a lot of people are stuck in a loop that's bad for them.
Absolutely.
but because it's known,
Yes.
it's okay.
Exactly.
And because change is always scary, even if it's changed for the better.
Yes, that's right.
Talked to a friend the other day, and she has lived in Oslo, the capital of Norway.
Yeah.
And they've been on a severe lockdown for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like everything's been closed.
The cafes, even
Cafes,
like, yeah,
like
you couldn't go to the bathroom in the center room because like
It
the
was
bathrooms were closed down.
So closed down. And within, I think it was 1 week, perhaps 2 weeks, but she said it felt like a day. It went from total lockdown to basically being open for everyone.
Yeah.
Like now you could have close contact training. We haven't had that in Norway for 15 months
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
You could have gatherings for, I think it's 200 people or something, but it happened, and as she said, it felt like it happened within a day.
Yeah.
And although it's a good change,
Yeah.
the change is massive.
Yeah. Talk about anxiety.
And then she and then she had some friends that she was handling this very well.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been in contact with some people during the lockdown because she's been working in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
But she had friends now that were freaking out because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a big change.
Yeah.
You went from, I was joking the other day with, well, now 4 is many and 5 is a crowd.
Right.
Because that's how it's been for the last 1.5 years. And then all of a sudden you can be 30 people in a room
Yeah.
training together.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's so strange.
It is.
And we have to acknowledge that change could be brutal for many.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although it's the right direction,
Yes.
change is not always necessarily pleasant.
That's it.
Because it is you talked about that in one of the other podcasts, that you're out and you're playing with a snowball and you get cold in your hands, and you go in and you put your hands in cold water and it's burning.
Yeah.
Because the change is so big.
Yeah, from the frozen to even the cool water is like, it's crazy, right?
So even having your hands in the cold snow feels better.
Yeah.
Than having them in the warm water, although warm water is better for you than snow.
Yeah.
So I think that's the known is more pleasant than the unknown.
Yeah. The devil is often better than the heaven you may get.
So
right?
if you like me, that has one of the roles like worker,
mm-hmm.
It's very easy to get stuck in the role as a worker as well. Because when I don't know what to do, I work more.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
Sometimes not working is the right thing to do.
Exactly. That's correct.
And then your nickname at home is too much.
Yes.
Because you go too much, and I also go too much.
Yeah.
But you go too much on everything. But if it's wood carving or didgeridoo or
working or
what it is.
Yeah, whatever. Jiu-jitsu.
But
friend. Yeah.
I go way too hard in on the work thing.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you have to let go of that role a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
You say, hold on tightly, let go lightly.
That's it. That's the motto. You have to hold on tightly with everything you have. But when the moment comes that you have to release, let it go. And be happy for the next thing that's going to come.
Sounds so easy.
It's easy.
No, it's not.
What you're saying is correct, because like we said, we manage our internal stress often by trying to control the outer world by doing things that are known, like working, following a role, or mothering, or being a chiropractor, or whatever roles you have. It's easy to throw ourselves into those. In fact, when the terrorist attack happened in the States and the planes flew into those buildings, right? There are videos of people straightening their desk before they leave, because that was like, they're panicking.
It's your fallback.
So they are falling back to actually, like, the building's literally falling down, and several didn't make it out because they had to just fix their work. And they were literally they weren't like saving the hard disk or doing something critical. They were literally just ordering their desk before they left. Right. So this mechanism is very powerful, and that should actually teach us a little bit about, first of all, there is some kind of inherent understanding inside us that our mind and thoughts create a structure for our emotions, and then that powers our action. That we do have a chain of thought, feeling, action, right? And they feed each other. So we can often help our mind by throwing ourselves into feeling. A lot of people want to get away from their horrible thoughts, so they'll read a romance novel. They want to feel something, or they want to get away from their physical issues, so they'll game, or they'll stimulate their brain. They'll read a book, or they'll disappear into something. They'll fantasize, daydream, right? Or they'll use their bodies to kind of control their emotions, right? They'll work out super hard, or they have a lot of emotional charge, so they'll basically grind their body into the ground so that they get tired enough to sleep, right? I mean, every athlete actually has that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the power mechanisms that we use. So what is freedom? Freedom is not the denial of these relationships. And freedom is not necessarily getting rid of a good role. But freedom is understanding that you are not your role, and you are not that action. You are not your feelings. You're not your thinking. Something you did didn't define you. Something you didn't do didn't define you, right? What you felt or what you are feeling does not define you right now either. Though we often talk about how, I have a thought, but I am angry. Feelings feel like they're very real, and if I'm angry, then the world's on fire and everything's red. And it'll never be anything but red, and everything's getting lit on fire in my world as long as I'm angry. But then suddenly I'm kind, and then kindness, and then everything's fluffy and got flowers, and everybody gets a taste of honey and, kindness. And it's always going to be kind, and everybody's going to be kind. And then suddenly something else comes up, right? Having freedom means that you don't identify with your thoughts or your emotions or your actions, in that you are not fresh and ready for the next moment that arises. So let's say that you're a CEO, which you are, Marit. And you don't have kids, but let's say you have two beautiful twin girls with lovely curly hair, and they're running around the house, right? I'm using my fantasy world right here. But you're a powerful CEO.
Yeah.
You're a powerful CEO, and you come home and you're going to be CEOing your little girls.
I can't do that.
Yeah, how is that going to work?
Nope.
Not at all. It's not going to work, right? That's going to be really interesting.
You have to adapt to the circumstances.
Exactly. Right? And the fact that you want to be spotless, and you want to be sharp, and you want to be clean and everything, and then suddenly you realize that, yep, kids have dirty hands and they're climbing on you. Everybody who's a dog, you come home in a suit and they jump up and they're so happy to see you, and their paws are right on your chest. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Can't have white clothes in the house.
Yeah, man, that's a mistake.
Because of the dog.
Because of the dog, right?
Dog, he just jumps.
He jumps, right?
And he's very loving when he does it, so I feel bad for pushing him down. He needs to be able to be a dog.
Absolutely. Exactly. That was beautiful, what you just said. He has to be able to be a dog. Now, sometimes nature just has to reign. Sometimes bees have to
swarm.
Yes, exactly. And me being all upset about the fact that things are what they are. Things do what they do. Right?
Kids must be allowed to be kids.
Kids will be kids. And though guiding them is necessary.
That's necessary, but if you have we have a home, we have like an old like wooden oven.
Oven. Yeah.
And not wooden, but like it's a fireplace. That's the point.
A fireplace.
Yeah, fireplace. And in that, my uncle carved his name. Because a kid that learns to write his name will write his name, his or her name everywhere. That's the nature of learning your name.
Yes.
I was watching Instagram the other day, and that's what I thought about it. It was a kid that learned how to write the name.
Mm.
Little girl. She, of course, wrote it in the car.
Mm. Of course.
That's the nature of a kid. That
And the
learns
joy
how
of
to,
doing that.
Of course.
Yeah.
They'll just learn to write their name. They start to identify
Yeah.
right then with that name. They can write it. They can actually write.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it everywhere.
And their focus is writing. It's not where you should write, when you should write, what you should write with. I mean, you write
It's
with
gonna
whatever
write
you
the
can.
name.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a swarm of bees going to swarm around.
Yes, that's it.
A kid that learns to write their name going to write their name somewhere.
Yeah. And, you know, the Tao Te Ching, one of the Chinese philosophical movements, the Tao. Everybody's heard the Tao of this, the Tao of Winnie the Pooh, even Tao of Kung Fu. It's the way, basically. There's a sentence there that says, "Rule by not ruling." King should rule without ruling. And what does that mean? It's like, oh, it's some weird contradiction. No, what it means is find the natural mechanics of things. When a kid is acting like a kid, where a kid should act like a kid, there's only joy and growth and evolution. Maybe not only joy, but it's definitely a healthy, right thing. When people who build and they're put where they need to build, things get built. It's not rule without ruling. It's find out what people want to be, what they are, what they do, how they do it, and put them where they can do that thing. And don't be upset when a scorpion stings.
That's the nature of the scorpion.
That's the nature of the scorpion. You know, the old that old story about the swan and the scorpion, right? And then
is there a frog in the scorpion?
Yeah, I think it's they use a frog or a swan, but
something.
The frog anyway. The frog's, you know, there's a river and there's a frog and a scorpion. If you guys haven't heard this story, I think it's a beautiful one. You know, and the frog's gonna go across, and the scorpion's like, hey, I can't get across, and I need to. Could you please let me just be on your back when you swim? And the frog's like, oh, heck no, man, you're gonna sting me. He's like, the scorpion's like, that's ridiculous, because if I sting you, I'm going to die too, because we're going to be in the middle of the river. I mean, I don't want to drown. I can't swim. So I need you. So of course I'm not going to sting you. Right. So the frog thinks about it a little bit, and he's like, okay. So he gets in the water so that the scorpion has to kind of get his little feet wet to get on top of the frog. And about halfway across, the scorpion stings that frog. And the frog's like, dude, what are you doing? He said, you stung me. You said you weren't going to sting me. And now you're going to drown. Why would you do that? He's like, I'm a scorpion. That's what scorpions do. But understanding what things are and also allowing them. Don't get all freaked out when you wake up to a bee swarm. It's like, register the fact that it's a bee swarm. And if you do get panic, now, this is interesting. Physiologically, your body literally, no matter who you are, resets itself after 2 minutes. So when you get like a rush of a shock or a panic or whatever, your body is clean and clear after 2 minutes. So what do you think reproduces the panic?
Oh, the emotions and the heart.
Exactly.
No, emotions and the
head.
brain.
Exactly. The head and the emotion just keep slamming that back and forth to reproduce the panic in the body, right?
It goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
Exactly.
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Exactly. And it pushes you back into some pattern that you know, and that pattern may not be pleasant for you, you know? And guys know I wasn't ordering my desk. I wasn't cleaning my desk like the people in the Twin Towers, you know? I basically got up. And what did I do? Like every good man, I called my wife.
Is this a bee swarm?
Yes.
Should I fix it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Fix it. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know if it was just a cluster or if it was a smaller swarm. And I was there actually after they'd settled, which means that the normal signs weren't there. So, and my wife is much more of a bee expert than I am. I work with the bees just like she does, but she's the person who has kind of like the the responsibility for making the bigger decisions and going after a swarm sometimes can be dangerous, depending on where they are, and it always has to be worth the risk, and it was. Yeah. So I felt like Indiana Jones today. So instead of being all freaked out, I felt like Indiana Jones. I got things done. I saved a bee queen.
You got a big plus in your wife's book.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. It's like plus, right?
Save the bees.
Save the bees. Save the world by saving bees, right? We're doing good. So it's been a good morning, though unexpected, right? And your joy in life will be proportional to how easy you take unexpected events in your life. Not just easy meaning not responding, but how fast do you reset? How fast do you respond? How fast do you accept? Right? So what was the thing that we talk about all the time, Marit, when it comes to unconditional love? That if people can't find unconditional love, they have to do what first? They have to accept, right? So that's...
Acceptance is the first step.
It really is. So then the Tao is teaching us acceptance and understanding of mechanics. So that's interesting. But accepting the fact that it is what it is right now. And that doesn't mean I don't care or being apathetic or
ignoring it.
Ignoring, exactly. Or
covering
denying
it up or denying it.
Exactly. But it's about responding and responding with all of you. Right? So this is interesting. Have you had any things lately that challenge your ability to accept?
Yeah. Drink a little bit of water here.
Yeah. That water's good.
Every day.
Yeah.
It is. People that have been following the podcast has been able to, especially episode 3 and 4, talk a lot about depression and anxiety and panic in those 2 episodes. It's been an interesting couple of months after those episodes.
Yeah.
Much lighter, but also all of a sudden, if it's possible, more dark and heavy than it was then, but shorter periods. We are also coming back to, which I would like to talk about later in another episode, but that process. But we are also in a big change right now in the way that we are, in a way, coming back after being locked down and the world is starting to open up again. And I see a lot has changed, a lot has not changed. I have changed.
Yeah.
And then how my roles, that's what I'm saying, like before I was very clear on my roles, now I'm more trying to find them again because I want to be better. And we'd say that you have 3 roles that are your major roles. Doesn't mean you can't have more.
No, you can have many
what
roles.
we mean with you having 3 roles is that you have 3 roles that you really can work.
Yeah.
You can really sort of focus on.
Yeah.
So say that I know that I'm my husband, when we had this question, he said brother. When we asked him last time, he said brother. So that's important for him.
Yeah.
I am a sister, but that's not one of my 3 major roles.
No.
So I don't put my energy there. That's not what I prioritize. If it's between having coffee with my sister, if it's training, I'm gonna train.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with a lack of
No,
love.
it has just to do with what I prioritize
Yeah.
and where I'm focusing my energy.
Yeah.
At the same time, if I can choose coffee or I can choose doing a podcast, I usually combine those 2.
Yes, yeah.
But I use my energy there. I feel right now it's a lot of change happening, and in Norwegian you have this saying, "Sit calm in the boat."
Yeah, Exactly.
There's so much happening, so much up in the air. It's all of a sudden, like I told you about Oslo, they went from total lockdown to total almost freedom in
Yeah.
the way of not integrated freedom, but they're able to be with people and talk to people and be close to people within a day. And a lot of the changes happening so fast.
Mm.
And I think it's like it's actually like bee swarms
Yeah.
all over the place. And although many of the changes are very good, still changes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay very calm and not get rushed by any of it.
Right.
To more find my direction, where I want to go, where I want to focus. Like before COVID, jiu-jitsu was everything. Competition, we competed every other month. Every 6th week, I was leaving Norway to compete somewhere.
You should see all the medals she has. Yes, she's been competing a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I still want to compete and do jiu-jitsu. I love the sport, but you know, what's the direction?
Yeah.
And we don't know where things going either. You know, thinking close down again, and I don't want to follow any of the hypes.
Right.
I want to be very present, very calm, very nuanced, not going with the emotion, but with having them and using them where I want to go. So it's a very interesting time right now. So I find my roles challenged every day. I'm also working on not drowning in the roles like I've been before.
Good.
Like, you know, we talked about working, and I like, yes, I still work today. It's my day off, but it's more pleasant. It's not that stressful. I'm also able to put it away, to go all in, but then pull out.
Yeah.
I find very important.
Yeah. And that's one of those things. Again, we hold on tightly and
let go lightly.
And
I mean, I have the power, and everyone has the power to be in charge of what they do and how they do it and what they think, and
exactly.
Not necessarily how you feel, but what you do with the feelings.
Yeah.
That's because, like you say, I'm thinking, but I have a thought, but I am angry. But instead of being angry, have anger.
Yeah, exactly.
And use it. Have kindness and use it.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said, are you doing what you are feeling, or are you putting feeling into what you are doing? Meaning, are you living with passion? Are you can use anger and joy and frustration, all of this stuff to fuel your action. The difference is that, does it make your action more precise and functional? Does it make it more beautiful? Blues, country, and Western songs, for example, are sung with lots of inward-going sadness or depression or feelings of loss, right? But that's what makes them beautiful. You know, these beautiful fado music from Portugal, it's so beautiful, but that's very depressive in a way, isn't it? You know, and then you have other kinds of music that are very happy. You know, music in a way is a metaphor for life. So can you use the emotions that you're having in order to express them through your beautiful and functional action? If you are able to chain those together, you are perfect. You are functional. That is the balance. That is the actual mastery of yourself. But if you're just doing what you're feeling, I'm angry, therefore I'm going to punish people around me. Or I'm feeling like I'm not getting respect, so therefore I'm going to grab me some respect. You know, that whole game there of manipulation and weirdness that people have, instead of just saying, okay, I am not feeling like I'm getting respect. Well, then I'm taking that and I'm going to use that energy to make myself better, right? I'm going to perform my job better so that I get respect.
Yeah, and you have total power here.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not always clear and easy to see it.
Exactly.
Total power. And it's one of those. What's the name in English? It's the floskel.
Oh, just.
What was that with
oh.
It's a saying in a way.
Yeah, it's a saying, but it's Platitudes.
Platitudes.
It's just
Platitudes.
stuff people say that's, it's kind of meaningless. Those,
Yeah.
it's,
But it's kind of, you have those motivational quotes everywhere and stuff.
Yeah.
And be powered. You have the power. And
dare to be you.
yeah, dare to be you. And,
Yeah.
and all that is true, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not grounded.
Yes.
It's very going with it instead of
Mm.
using acceptance as the main base.
Exactly.
And being present and working with what's in front of you.
Yes.
And then be the best you.
Yes. Excellent.
And instead it's, well, I like unicorns.
Mm.
So I'm going to have unicorns everywhere. And even if the situation requires something different than a unicorn,
Yeah.
I'm going to push unicorn through
Mm-hmm.
because I am me and the world needs to accept me. Instead of accepting yourself
Exactly.
and then accepting other people
Exactly.
and not pushing that on them, but you can still be you without pushing unicorns into people's faces.
Yes. Exactly.
Because in a funeral, maybe black clothes and solitude and calmness is better than when you running in on a toy horse and having a unicorn parade.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work
exactly.
with what's in front of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point. So, although you can feel like a unicorn on the inside.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe
that's not a problem.
No, but it's situation appropriate, right? Exactly. I think that it's a beautiful point, situation appropriate, because people are like, well, I want to be me, but I still want all of the things that people should give me if I'm acting appropriately. But I don't want to act appropriately. And that's another thing. There's a difference, guys, between the rules that your mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers gave you and understanding the mechanics of the universe. So, you run a business. Yes. You provide a product. Yes. You expect people to pay for the product. Yes. But if you stop providing the product, are they going to what? Are they going to pay you? No. So, okay. Let's say that you have a good product. Yes. You expect people to pay you. Yes. But you deliver the product in a way that's not usable, not acceptable, not appropriate for the customer. Are they going to choose to buy it from you? No. Exactly. So the mechanic of that relationship is that you have to have some situational acuity and then put lots of feeling into delivering this beautiful product to your customers and be proud about that, but realize that you have to be appropriate. These mechanics are everywhere. And when you start to wake up, you realize that they're everywhere. You start to really understand them. For example, this is something that people don't know unless you've been pretty aware. People thought, there's a conspiracy theory, that fast food restaurants and pharmaceutical restaurants were in cahoots, basically, that they were working together to basically make people eat more junk food and take more medicine. They were pretty sure that there was like some evil backdoor conversation there, right?
You feed me, I feed you.
Yeah, exactly. But my friends, they don't even have to do that, because it's like the Tao Te Ching that I was talking about. Rule by not ruling. My friends, if you eat lots of junk food, statistics say you will take more medicine. And people who are taking lots of medicine are too ill and out of energy to make good food. So they eat more junk food and fast food. So they supersize you. That's
the only thing you crave then.
Exactly. And the mechanics of this also, that McDonald's, they pretty much figured out, this is what I've heard, that they found out that like 90% of the people who are over, like if you look at who actually is buying most of the McDonald's food, they're over a certain weight. And so they started supersizing things, realizing that if they can bump you up to over 200 pounds, you will double, triple, quadruple the amount of food that you eat there. because you don't just buy a Big Mac. You buy 2, 3 Big Macs because you're a big person, right? You don't buy one fry. You supersize. You're supersizing your Coke and you're supersizing your French fries. And then suddenly you're like, I have 2 burgers. Why don't I have 2 Cokes and two fries, at least 2 fries, right? So guys, the mechanics of the universe are such that they don't have to have a conspiracy. That's where people are very often mistakenly thinking that everybody's out to get them. No, it's the mechanics of the situation. Scorpions
will sting you.
They will sting you. You eat lots of McDonald's, you will be taking medicine. Sooner or later, it's going to get to your health, right? You take lots of medicine, my friends, you probably don't have the energy to be healthy. Therefore, you're going to eat more junk food. That's the way it is. So starting to look at your life from a position of acceptance so that you can see things clearly.
But I think that's
allows
why
you to see that.
Yeah, I think that's why it's important that you actually try to look at, okay, what 3 roles, if I ask you, so what do you do? Who are you? Where do you use energy? And you can say 3 places. Accept those 3 places. And that gives you so much freedom. And like we talked about, you shouldn't drown in those roles. That's another conversation. But just to identify the roles will give you a lot of freedom and help you conscious now. You won't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Clean your conscience.
Clean your conscience. Thank you. Because I don't feel bad for not taking that coffee necessarily with my sister. Because I know that's not in my 3 roles.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay. I'm
well
okay
said.
with that. I'm an aunt. Most likely, if I could be better at it, in the way that if you had that, it's one of my 3 major roles, I would be much better at it. But then I would put a lot of more energy in it. But I accept the fact that I have 3 places where I can put most energy. And those 3 places, again, from now I'm trying to figure out where to put it, be maybe more precise with it. But it has been athlete, wife, and work.
Yeah.
And I've been doing very good at athlete, wife, and work.
Amazing.
And I'm accepting the fact that I then will have other places in my life where I'm not that effective.
Yeah.
And I can't be 100% in 100 different roles.
No, that's it.
Because I have the time, I have the hours, I have the energy that I have.
Exactly.
So I'm going to put the 3 places where it's important. And society can tell me whatever they want. Instagram can tell me whatever they want. That has nothing to do with it.
And that's because you're a powerful woman. You're a very powerful person, Marit. You know who you are. You know what you want. And you're not going to let them make you feel bad because your morning routine doesn't look like the last influencer you saw on Instagram.
If you feel like I need to be an athlete, I need to be a wife, I need to be a worker, I need to be a daughter, I have to be have to have everything clean at home because that's how it's gonna look.
Has to be perfect.
Ready
for a magazine.
Ready for a magazine. I have to
a garden. Oh, don't forget the garden. Oh, and most of it, you have to grow your own food, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, and you're over 30, right? Which means you.
Well, I'm 30, not over 30.
Well, okay, well.
I'm 30.
You're in the 30th year.
I'm in my 30. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. She's in her 30th. She's in her 30th year. So
then I need kids. Yeah, of course. I need the kids.
2
kids.
2.
I need
a boy and girl.
A boy and girl at least.
Yeah.
And they need to be perfect.
Of course they do, and always clean.
Yeah, and I need to wear decent clothes, and they should always be ironed.
Oh, and smile.
Oh, smile, yeah.
Oh, don't forget to smile.
Yeah,
because being very positive. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, and I need to remember to also I have to be with all my girlfriends and support them in everything they do and cheer them on. And
be involved.
Be involved. Yeah, you can't just show it. I need to be involved as well.
And the PTA, the Parent Teachers Association.
Oh yeah, I need to make cookies.
Yeah, and how many of those sweaters that you have in your closet did you knit?
Oh, yeah, I need to learn how to knit.
Yeah, and sew.
Oh, yes, because my grandma did that.
Yeah.
And to be a good mother, I need to sew the clothes for my kids.
And you have a higher education, right?
Yeah, I only have one, so I need one
you
more.
at least one more, or a PhD.
Yeah, perhaps I should do master first and PhD.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And on the side of having a full job.
of course. Yeah,
And the full job, you have to work overtime, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to make sure that they know that you're committed.
Yeah. Is that enough roles?
No.
But that's
like,
the point.
Yeah.
I forgive myself.
You forgive yourself.
And accept the fact
Right.
that, you know, because we like take the fact that we are building a house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a big garden. I want a garden. I'm going to keep that garden as easy as possible because I'm not a garden person. I may be later.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not my focus. I don't have energy for that. Not going to put up. I'm not going to make it so that I have to take care of a garden when I get home when I don't have energy, don't have interest in it. And if my mom comes visiting and she thinks you should have flowers, I can have flowers, but then you have to fix them. I don't have energy or time for it. And that's okay.
It's okay. Heck yeah. And actually, the romantic illusion that you're going to be able to do all of these things perfectly. Now, that's a thing that I often love to talk about, the romantic illusion. The romantic illusion, and when I finally get this thing, I'm going to be happy. When it's like this, it's going to be so good. I'm crap now, but as soon as I get to camp, I'll be fine. When I go camping, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Right? When you forget the fact that you're going to be you're basically leaving your house or your apartment, and you're going to be sleeping outside on uneven ground, and you're going to be, mosquito bitten and tick chewed, and you're going to basically be too cold or too hot or too sweaty, or not be able to take a shower, or not getting your coffee, or it's going to be taking you twice the amount of time to make your food, and then you have to carry all that stuff in, and you don't probably have the training. Most of you people that have romantic illusions about camping instead of camp have no training in carrying a backpack, so you're going to have some lumbago, a little bit of bad back on the way in or way out. The facts around a situation don't match the romantic illusion,
and the pressure you often feel because you have the romantic illusion that you think, and the romantic illusion that you feel it's put on you.
Yes.
And just break free from it.
Yeah, accept the fact that it's okay not to take on 1,000 roles and prioritize them. Accept the fact that you literally, as a human being, have the ability to actually be good at 3 of them, pretty much.
And it doesn't mean that you can't, when you go to family dinner, be the best sister, be the best daughter, be the best aunt, be present in that moment. But when you're going to decide where you're going to focus, use it on those 3 and just accept the rest.
Exactly.
It's so much more pleasant. And then you don't have to have a garden that looks like shit, because you put up the illusion that I need to have 15 different flowers, and I don't know what you even have in a garden. You see, that's how interested I am. I can't figure out what you even need.
Rhododendrons.
Yes, right?
Ginkgo biloba trees.
You need to have those cut out bushes.
Yes.
Just accept that, I'm not interested in it. Yeah, it's society, Instagram, Kim Kardashian tells you need to.
No. Exactly.
I'm not interested in it, and that's okay.
It's okay, right? And you will not judge yourself.
No, let it go.
Exactly. And I'll tell you something cool, Marit. This is one of those things that I really love. I talk to your nieces about you. I don't know if you know that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, right?
This is new information, people.
Yes. This is inside information. They think you're the coolest person on earth. They get to see you train and compete and rock it. They see you at work where you're just in control and making things work. They see you with Eirik, a beautiful role model. You are a woman who has healthy relationship choices, a woman who has control, in the best sense of control, over her workplace and cooperation, a woman who's living a dream and making it happen. What better role model could you be for your nieces? What better aunt actually could you be? Right?
And that's also a thing, we think that a client once when I was a personal trainer in Trondheim,
Mm.
and she said that I can't train. I said, why can't you train? I said, no, I would like to be with my kids. I said, yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to have energy to be with them, to be the role model, to be the mom that takes 2 hours for herself to do something she wants to do? If it's training, or it's knitting, or it's book club, that doesn't matter. If it's sing, if that's what you want to do, but 2 hours a week, do something you want to do. Be a role model.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you
it.
said.
Because kids don't do what you say; they do what you do. So when you're a grumpy adult watching them do sports, when they become
Because you
your
have to
age.
be the mom that watch the kids do sports.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what Instagram tells you to
Yeah,
do.
you got to be at every sporting event, right? And you
All
got to
of
be
them.
now. This is very interesting, folks, because one of my patients came in, and she was a woman in her 50s, and she looked absolutely fantastic. She was like super trained. She looked like a super athlete. And I just had to ask her. I'm like, what is your secret? Because you're over 50. You're over 50, and man, like at that time I wasn't competing in jiu-jitsu, but I was in good shape. But she had, her six pack was way better than mine. But she was a healthy person. Like it wasn't like she was too skinny or anything. But she was just a beast. She looked like a leopard with a human face. And I'm just like, how do you do that? What is your thing? And she said, oh, I have kids. And I'm like, yeah, that's usually the excuse for not being like that. And she said, oh, no. Well, it's easy because they both do handball. They both train. And I said, yeah. So when they train, I train. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And she said, yeah, and I have 2 of them. So they train once, I train twice. So I'm twice as trained as they are. I was like, that's a good point, right? So instead of being the adult who drives the kids to train and then sits and eats donuts and smokes cigarettes and gossips or is grumpy with the other parents who are watching the kids train, she was out training and then pick them up. Now she would show up at their games and watch the games, and that's where she would support. But she would use their training time because she's running a bus shuttle service anyway. Most parents are, right? You rush home, pick up the kids, and all this stuff. Guess what? Go for a walk. Go have your exercise. Plan your time because that's your time.
Listen to a podcast.
Listen to the podcast. Exactly.
Do something for yourself.
You build yourself.
Whatever
exactly.
that is.
Whatever that might be. Exactly. Right? And that's such a powerful message. So accepting the fact that you are brilliant, and when you are truly invested in those roles, you're truly invested in being you and being free and being total, what kind of a role model are you for the people around you? You shine like a star, just like you shine for your nieces. You shine like a star. And having a bad conscience for being you is like, again, being a scorpion and expecting yourself not to sting. You have to understand that you are you, and it is what it is, and you can only show up with all of you, and you should. Freedom. Freedom comes first from acceptance and understanding the mechanics of things in your life. Love yourself. Don't judge yourself. But again, that's a platitude until you accept yourself. So remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, and then your energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day, and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.